decorating is just as much about what we remove from a room than what we add. And it's not about adding expensive things. It's about adding the right. I just started being like, I love lamps. I love rugs. I love drapes. They are powerful. When you get the right seating surfaces and storage in your room, which you and I, most of us already have. But when we add that homey trinity, for most of us, our rooms like magically feel 80, 90% done. It's amazing.
Welcome to the show today. You're in the right place because we are here with my friend, Myquillyn Smith, also known as the Nester. And this is such a fun one where we're talking about our homes. I don't normally do a lot of shows about decorating because I'm not into decorating. Like it's not my thing. But Myquillyn makes it fun. She always teaches me something, and I love her perspective. And we've been friends for years. You'll hear some backstory. With Myquillyn, I am admitting my secret shame about my house. What's the big issue? Where do I have my secret decorating sin? Well, you're about to find out. It's a really, really good one. If you're like me and you don't naturally get excited about decorating or paint colors or how to place things together, you are going to love Myquillyn's perspective because she comes with a really simple set of rules that we can follow, because we have to know the rules to know which rules are okay to break. So you're going to love this one. But after we talk with her, it's time for coaching. We just finished the self-awareness series, and I want to start a series on success secrets. I've talked to you before about the importance of increasing your surface area for good luck, how to not take yourself out of the game before you ever get a chance to play, that type of thing. We're starting a series where I'm going to share some simple principles to keep you moving forward and keep you strong. I'm so excited about this one to keep going. But today I want to give you a very simple rule of success that I live by that I think you're going to love as well. Now, final segment of the show, I'm bringing you a recommendation for my all-time favorite Sunless tanner that doesn't make you smell like hot dogs. You know what I mean. Sometimes that stuff you put it on and you look good, but it's just not a good smell. This one, it's affordable and no hot dog smell. Okay, now, what am I going to tell you about this week? It's free coaching call time. A couple of times a year when my schedule allows, I love to do free coaching calls. This is for business owners, executives, and entrepreneurs. If you've ever wondered what it's like to get personalized, high-level coaching and you have an issue that you need some help with, this is your perfect chance. You can apply at allieworthington.com/free coaching. I have all of the free coaching calls in June. So again, if you're an executive, a business owner, entrepreneur, go ahead and apply. We will go ahead and get you scheduled. I only have a few spots open. I'll be talking about it all month. Go ahead and apply at allieworthington.com/free coaching. Now, without further ado, here's Myquillyn. Okay, my friend, we're going to start with this. I have a secret shame that I have never admitted publicly. Here goes. In the main area of my house, 15 years ago, these walls were painted light yellow. And we are not going to spend the money to paint them. We are not going to paint them ourselves because it's just massive. Like, it's just this great room, 2 stories tall. So I'm just waiting for my living room to come back in style. Can you just, look into the future and tell me how long it's going to be before yellow walls come back into style? That's what I want to know.
You know what's fun right now about the trends? They're moving so fast that it's probably going to be in next week. But Allie, I want to tell you something.
Okay.
I do this with my chimney. Like, we needed to have, our whole house was white and our chimney was brick. And I thought, that's going to be $10 million. Who's going to want to get up there? That I can never afford that. Well, then one day my painters were there and I just asked for a quote. It was so embarrassingly cheap. I think sometimes we make, and you may already know, maybe you got the quote, but I
have never gotten a quote.
Okay.
No.
Quotes are free. I want you to get the quote because you might be pleasantly surprised. I call it amateur guesstimate or professional estimate. You are amateuring, guesstimating how much it's going to cost and assuming you can't afford it, and that might not be true.
Yeah, I think you're right. And it's just that one big room. The rest of the house, it's a lovely shade and it's light yellow, but it reads like a dark dehydrated urine yellow on photos.
That's
It's
it.
not good.
Get that quote, and you have 2 weeks to text me and tell me how much it was so I know that you got the quote. Just so you will
I
now be
will.
working off of real information,
But I mean, dehydration yellow could come back into style. You
not
never know.
dehydration urine. That's what you call it.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, it's funny because it wasn't until like 5 years ago a friend was like, "You're so brave keeping the yellow walls when yellow's out," and I was like, "Oh, yeah, because I am not paying attention. You know this about me. Like that's not my thing. I want to live in it. I want to feel comfortable. I want to feel happy." But definitely not trends. Whenever I want to do something new to like my office or any part of my house, I literally send Lisa Whittle a video. I take a video and I go, listen, don't judge me. Here's my mess. This is what I need to do. I need you to pick stuff out for me. And then she'll make like a vision board for me and she'll send things over for things that won't look terrible. It's complicated.
Well,
And
Lisa
I
Whittle
never,
is so talented.
she is so
Got
talented.
such a great eye. But listen,
Yeah.
as long as you like it, it's in. That's all that matters. I don't think a
I like
color
that
is
except for
ever really
the
out.
walls.
It's like saying pants are out of style. No.
Well, I never, you know this, I never have anybody on my show to talk about decorating or even barely anything for hospitality because it's just not my gift set. But I have you on because I like your vibe. I like how you do it. Every time you write a book, I love the books. I love everything that you do. Talk about this latest project and why it's so good for people like me.
I wrote it just for people like you and like me. I know, back when I was in elementary school, you know how the teacher would give us the test on Monday for spelling? And then on Friday, you had the real test. And I'm telling you, I almost flunked out of spelling because I thought the Friday test was a test on what you knew, and you either knew how to spell or you didn't. Sorry, kid. Sorry, third grader. You're a bad speller. You're going to flunk life. Until I had a teacher who said, "Oh, no, no, no. You're supposed to study. Here are some tools. Here's some different ways to learn. I before E, except after C." And in the same way that rule, that universal rule of I before E except after C applies whether we're writing an Instagram post or we're writing a letter to our grandmother. There are universal decorating truths that apply no matter what your style is, no matter if you have a big budget or no budget, no matter if you're renting or you own. These truths apply in the same way and you can learn them. And it wasn't until I met someone and she's like, "Oh, I have all your books, but I wasn't born with a decorating gene." And I realized I have wasted my life. I have wasted all of my career. I have wasted these books because if someone reads what I say and thinks that you either were born with it or you weren't, then I have failed. And so that's why I wanted to write this book. It is basically a decorating textbook. We all have beautiful aspirational decorating books, or at least I hope you do, because they're really lovely coffee table books. I love them. I hope people keep creating them. I will keep buying them. But those type of books that have like 100 different houses in them and beautiful styled photos, they don't really help us with our house. They just help us know what we don't have. This book helps you make decisions in your own home. You know how when you get a dishwasher and the red light is blinking and you're like, what in the world is wrong? You go to the back of the manual and it has like troubleshooting directions. That is what my new book, House Rules, is. Like, you have a problem, your mantle looks off. In your last house, that art above your mantle looked amazing. And now in this house, it looks hideous and you have no idea why. I know why. I can teach you how to figure out why some things look great and other things look horrible. And that's why I wrote the book.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I feel like the book is for 99% of people. Like there's the 1% of people who have like a professional decorator come in and they have a fancy house, or the Lisa Whittles who just know. But everyone else, we're just making it up as we go. And I think for a lot of people, the budget is an issue. So for people listening going, okay, I know there's all these things wrong with my house, but I don't have a lot of extra money to spend. Where can they start? What do they need to think about?
For so long, I was stuck waiting on my next house because all I could think about was all the stuff I didn't have. I didn't have enough money. I didn't have enough time. We didn't have cool, secondhand stores like they have in other towns, or we didn't have these amazing antique fairs like they have, in Texas. And all I could think of was what I did not have access to. But I think when we flip it and start paying attention to what we do have access to, one of Tony Robbins' famous quotes is resourcefulness is your greatest resource. Like, oh, hold on. And so when we flip the script and think, compared to our last house, this is our next house. If we keep waiting, this is not going to turn out good. Decorating is just as much about what we remove from a room than what we add. And it's not about adding expensive things. It's about adding the right things. I don't know if you've ever heard of Facebook, but there's this thing called Facebook Marketplace. It is on fire right now. You can find a dining room table that looks amazing for $100. You can probably sell your current furniture for more than what you would buy if you feel like you need something different. But I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. There is an order of decor to work in. And a lot of us, it's not necessarily that we have the wrong sofa. It may be that we just need the confidence, or we need to get the quote to see if we should change our paint color. So just small changes. I think we underestimate the fact that small changes can make a huge impact. Amazon drapes can make us completely love our room. And for the people that I know, for everyone I've ever met, it's not about creating a really pretty house so we can impress our sister-in-law. I haven't met anyone that cares to do that. We want to create a pretty house that feels like us, that we love coming home to, that we love opening it up to other people, that we volunteer to host the baby shower, and we're not so distracted by the sofa that we hate, that we can't pay attention to people. So if you hate your sofa, yes, I want you to love your sofa. There are 10,000 ways to love your sofa. One is spend a lot of money and buy a new one. But there are lots of other ways to do that as well. You can get a sofa cover. You can sell your current sofa and buy a used sofa. I've purchased 2 sofas in the past 3 years, both $100 or less, secondhand. Now, I had the resource of patience and a little bit of time. So everything does have a cost, but there are other ways to pay other than money.
I love that. And I think you hit on an important point. A lot of decorating is taking things away.
Yeah.
Because if you ever go into a house and you're like, whoo, there's a lot in here. But if half of the clutter was taken away, it could look amazing. I think sometimes we think about redecorating and all the stuff we need to buy, when really it's getting rid of the stuff we don't absolutely love. I think that's a huge thing. One thing I'm doing this year is every month I have a new project at home. Now, I've lived in my house for 15 years, but I've never done it. So I had shelves put in the laundry room and a hanger that extends so I could hang up clothes. I'm like, 15 years I haven't done this for this $20 hanger extension thing on Amazon that has changed my life. And I've just going through every month going, okay, what do I want to change? What do I want to make happier in the house and more useful, and putting the money in that way? And I think instead of going, this is going to take so much money, how do I get it together? Just breaking it into, we're getting new curtains one month, we're fixing the laundry room the next month. For me, right down to organizing a closet that I couldn't tell you what's in the bottom of my walk-in closet at this point because I haven't touched it in 15 years.
I love that. First of all, I so commend you on something per month, and the fact that you're practicing what you preach, which is saying, I believe that small changes make a big difference. Sometimes if I find myself not really believing that, even though I can nod my head and say, oh yeah, that's true, is I'll just kind of walk around my house and look at maybe something I did in the past that had a big impact. Something as little as getting the magic eraser around the front door and getting all the old gunk about it. And then every time I come in, I'm like, I'm a princess. This looks amazing. Like, we underestimate how these small changes affect us, which that really is kind of the heart of the home, is how we feel about it. So I call it making a we did it list. Like, sometimes just writing down what you've done in the past can be the motivation or the inspiration to take another step forward in the future. So I love hearing what you've done and what was on your list.
I love that. The we did it list. So what you've done and maybe like how it made you feel. Because when I
Yeah.
remember the joy of that silly extension arm in my laundry room, like, why didn't I have this 15 years ago? Like it legitimately makes me happy when I go in my laundry room now.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
it's such a simple little thing, but it's or I have kind of a navy blue velvet curtains in my living room, and I feel very fancy. I'm sure you watch The Crown.
Yes.
Okay, so in The Crown, everything in the palace is very tall windows, with very tall curtains attached. Every time I close them, I feel fancy, like I'm in The Crown, because generally I am not a curtains person. We live out in the country, and the most of our house doesn't have any curtains at all. So when we decided to do a pop of color and put some curtains in the living room, it was a big deal for us.
Mm.
But man, I feel fancy every time I close them. It's just so silly and small.
I love that. I don't think it's silly or small. I think it does have a big impact. And I think something like curtains are a great place to start because a lot of times if you just buy them pre-made on Amazon, if you don't like them, you can return them. So it feels low risk. And you don't feel like you're adding, I don't know, sometimes it feels like decor is just adding a layer of clutter. Like, oh, I'm going to add all this stuff on my surface now. I have to style my coffee table with a stack of books and 10 candles and blah, blah, blah. But something about just window treatments, even if they're not functional, I believe that, decorative drapes, they cover the wall, not the window. So if you love your precious light, if you, don't need to block out or need privacy, like you said, a great place to start is just adding some softness to your windows, because I know what we all want, a warm and welcoming home. And fabric is one way to add coziness. So adding fabric, I bet you even felt that in the room, besides like it adds color, it adds your family's personality. It's blue, it's bright, it's lovely, it's kind of luxurious, but also it takes away like the layer of echo and it softens a room. And I love just all the kind of different senses and the different factors that decorating choices can hit on. We forget about that.
Yeah, you're right. The coziness is a big thing because that our house is very minimal. So we have a kitchen attached to just a massive dining room. The dining room we use as a little TV room, and then a massive great room with a lot of bedrooms off of it. So we just have this one huge open living space, mainly covered in windows, and I think coziness was missing, and the curtains in the living room really made it a lot cozier. Now, curtains, I know window treatments, they're part of the trinity. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Oh, yes. For a long time, I would look at my house and then look around and think it didn't look right and have no idea what to do. And then I would look at maybe an aspirational photo on Pinterest or something, and I would think, oh my gosh, my room, Allie, I counted the items in my room because I'm like, I wanted to figure it out. What is it that makes their room look so good? But my room has more stuff. Like, I guess I need to buy more stuff. That was the only trick I had was must buy more stuff if it doesn't look right. But when I really started paying attention, I noticed that the rooms that maybe I pinned on Pinterest that I loved when I thought about my family room, as I looked at them, I would count their stuff. Sofa, rug, lamp, coffee table, like literally count and realize they have half the stuff in their room and I have so much extra stuff, but I have the wrong stuff. And when I realized what it was that was contributing to their less stuff family room looking complete, because I call myself a cozy minimalist. Like I want the most amount of style with the least amount of stuff, like all of us. I don't want to have extra stuff that is just sitting around, but I also don't want to have an empty, echoey room. Like there's something in between that I think we're all looking for. And what I realized was every home that I pinned that I liked their family room had a big, huge rug that the furniture, at least the front feet, were sitting on. They had drapes on the window, even if they weren't covering up light, they just had this softness on the walls, and they had lamps. And I thought, oh my gosh, I've got this little pipsqueak rug, like a little, I should put in front of my kitchen sink, 2x5 rug. I've got no drapes on the window because we're in the country, kind of the same thing, but I really was missing, my room literally echoed. And then I had like a little see-through glass lamp that was too small. And what happened was I knew enough. Like, I think we all kind of are built in. We're looking for balance. And so I felt like my room was missing something. But the things that I added were like more pillows, more little $4 vases from Target that were too small. You needed 25 of them to make an impact. When I looked at these rooms, I realized their rugs are big. Their drapes are high and wide. Their lamps have bases that like read as art and add interest. And suddenly, for their room to feel cozy, they needed a lot less stuff. And that's where I started thinking, well, that's like the homey trinity: rugs, drapes, and lighting. And then when I started helping people with their house, I realized so many American homes and beyond are missing that layer of coziness that's also so functional. Like, think about it. You get out of your bed and you put your feet on a cozy rug, or if you want texture or pattern or color, you can add that with a rug without adding a layer of tchotchkes on your surfaces. Same with your drapes and your lighting. I know a lot of rooms have an overhead light, which is great. That's what the builder had to have to pass code. But when you turn on an overhead light, you can look 185 years old, and it doesn't do us any favors. They're great if you lose an earring, but they're not this warm, inviting, like, pocket of cozy filtered light. And that is what lamps can do. And so I just started being like, I love lamps, I love rugs, I love drapes. They are powerful. When you get the right seating surfaces and storage in your room, which you and I, most of us already have, but when we add that homey trinity, for most of us, our rooms like magically feel 80-90% done. It's amazing.
Oh, 100%. I have this great lamp. It's a floor lamp that hangs over kind of 3 rods and with 3 lights. And I gave this as a recommendation on the podcast recently because I hate LED lights. I'm an incandescent light girl. Like, I hoarded them in the attic, where my husband was like, what is wrong with you, you crazy woman? I'm like, they're going to take away our incandescent lights. I got to buy all I can. That was me. But there's Sylvania light bulbs I've started buying that you can program the color. And it makes the room so, like, they're actually Wi-Fi enabled, so you can have an app on your phone. And you can enable them to be yellow. I bought the full color because why not have a disco? But I only use yellow all the time. But it really has boosted the coziness. And I'll tell you this, I finally, after 15 years, bought new rugs. I'll link them in the show notes. They're from Ruggable. They're called Strawberry Thief. And they're kind of ornate but beautiful. They have flowers and birds. And they are the most wonderful things. They make the room. They absolutely make the room. Just that beautiful. For this, it's kind of dark greens and dark blues, the colors that we love, which look great with the yellow walls, but we won't talk about that. We'll fix that with that quote. But yeah, it's made us those warm lights, not the painful white LEDs with the new rugs and those drapes. I mean, it's really made the room. From a room that we would all find ourselves not using, we would go into the little TV room and all pile into there because it felt cozier, and we had this giant living room that we never went in, and I didn't put it all together, but those 3 things made all the difference. It feels cozy in there now.
I love what you just said about how you noticed your family was all going into the little room with the television, even though you had this big room. And I think a lot of times our homes are trying to scream at us and we're not paying attention. And that is such a great first step. If you think, this doesn't feel right, I need to make changes. It's just paying attention to how we live in our home. Especially if you've lived in your home for a long time, we can just kind of become houseblind to how we use every room. But if you're constantly moving a little table over, or your husband is moving a chair up, or your kids are, their backpacks are everywhere, to me, yes, you can ask your family to adjust what they're doing, but really what that is just our house talking to us and trying to help us figure out that we need it to function differently for us. And that's exactly what you did. You noticed that, hey, we're all hanging out in this little room. We have this big, gigantic room that is meant for this. What can we do to make this feel more like that? And you did it.
Yeah. So who knew? That's great. Okay. I'm going to put you on the spot. What is a decorating pet peeve that drives you crazy? Like, if there is one thing that you could say, I'm going to help the world not make this mistake, what would it be?
Pillows that do not have a feather insert or a down alternative. Pillows that have, you know, like when your grandma makes you a teddy bear and she puts that stuffing in it, it's like popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
If you buy, Target is getting better, but some pillows at Target or at, you know, like the at-home store, love them, but a lot of their pillows have a teddy bear polyfill insert.
Yeah.
And what that
Amazon.
means is when we use the pillow one time, it goes really flat and it's all lumpy. And then we think it's the pillow's fault. We're like, I can't use throw pillows because my husband ruins them when he takes a nap, or my kids ruin them when they make a fort. No. If you use God's stuffing in your pillow, if you use a feather insert, you can run over it with a car and then you can fluff it back up. And that is how pillows, and so it's not the pillow's fault. It is the stuffing that you have purchased. So I always look for pillows. Pillows actually, like throw pillows, have two parts. They have the insert that's usually covered in white and then stuffed with some kind of stuffing. You want either feather down or down alternative. And then they also have the outside, which is the pretty decorative part. I always look for a pillow cover that has a zipper. That way you can take it off, you throw it in the wash. If it gets barfed on or spilled on, it doesn't matter. If it's pink that you like in the spring and then in the fall you want to change it to brown, you just take the little pillow cover off and you fold it up. It takes up no room. That is what my message to America is. Thank you very much.
That's so good. I will tell you, you'd be very proud. I do change my pillow covers 3 times a year. But you know what I do? Because I'm all about efficiency. I will keep, there's a kind of a main base pillow, which is a blue. I will put the fall or Christmas shades around it.
That's good.
And so then I just take off the cover and the old one's there.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so we can use our throw pillows. We've just been using the wrong insert.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Okay, last big point from your book I want to talk about, because this is so important. One of the rules is hate the sofa, hate the space. Let's talk about that.
It killed me to write that one because I want to tell everyone that no matter if you hate everything in your house, you can still love your house. It's just not true. I mean, think about it. If you put on an outfit and you hate the way you feel in your jeans, the way you look in your jeans, the fabric of your jeans, they're too small, they're too big, whatever it is, there is no amount of cute shirt and cute shoes and cute hair and cute makeup that's going to make us love the way we look when we hate our jeans. Yeah. And when you dislike the largest piece of furniture in a room, I don't think there's any amount of doing everything else in the room to distract the eye away from that. I do think if you don't like your paint color, if you don't like your coffee table, there are things you can do. But I do think there is something about that largest, most functional piece in a space. If we hate that, I really want, and I give all kinds of tips, you know, you can find a sofa cover, you can do a slip cover, people paint their leather, you can sell it on Facebook Marketplace like we talked about. Like there are so many different things. Find a way to not hate the biggest piece in your room, and it will change the way you feel about the room.
It's true. We had big leather sofas, which are now in the TV room, that neighbors gave us, which were great. They were from 2001. They're so well made. But they didn't look good in the giant room. And we went to store. I drugged my husband to 5 stores. And I had to lounge on each sofa. I had to feel it. I had to, of course, have it custom enlarged because there's so many of us. But, that new sofa, it's amazing. It makes me so happy. I even mentioned it in my last book, how I finally have a white sofa after all these years and no one's allowed to eat on it or within a 5-foot radius, including myself. Like, the sofa means a lot to me because I finally found one that I love.
I'm so happy for you. Sofas are so intimidating. They're terrifying. It's usually the largest purchase that we make as far as furniture goes. So way to go, doing a great job and being so happy with it.
You actually inspire me because it was your last, I think was it your last book that you talked about sofas?
I talk about
probably.
sofas way too much because
but it's a good thing.
It is. I mean, I have been the person who buys a sofa and as soon as the delivery men drop it off, I'm like, I hate it. Giving dirty looks, and I don't want anyone to make that. Let that be a lesson. Let my mistake. I don't want anyone paying money for a sofa and then instantly hating it. So I talk about them a lot.
No, it's good that you do. You inspire me to do something about my sofa because I would have been like, I don't like that sofa, but it's functional.
Right.
And so I tip my hat to you. You're kind of like you're a sofa evangelist. That's a very good thing.
That's good.
Okay, fun questions for you. Remind us of your Enneagram number.
Allie, I'm a 5. I feel like they have the worst reputation, but I love being a 5.
Why? 5s are amazing. I say that. Well, I go to 5 in health, so I'm like team 5 all the way.
Right? Yeah, 5s.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always feel like it's like the villain or the Sherlock Holmes or like the weird creepy man, but not creepy in a bad way, but creepy in not as socially skilled.
Well, because you're interested in research. How does being a 5 show up in your work?
Oh, 100% shows up in my work because I am not okay with someone saying this lamp looks good on the table and this lamp looks bad. Moving on. No. Why? Why does that lamp look good and that look bad? I must know the answer. Yeah. It is like my life's work to figure out why some things look good and some things don't look good to us. And I'm not talking about style. It's those universal decorating truths.
Rules.
Usually has to do with like a style factor, size, shape, scale, texture, color, the relationship. Everything in our room is in a relationship together. So I want to get to the bottom of all of these, I don't know, mysteries, decorating mysteries.
I love that. Your Enneagram 5-ness benefits everyone.
I hope.
Yeah. I would still have a really garbage sofa in my living room if not for you.
I'm
Researching
so happy for you.
Why it's important to have the right one. No, I love it. Okay, what about a song that you have on repeat right now? Anything interesting?
I never know what is going on in the world today, but I have playlists that I listen to and right now I've been listening to my Irish pub playlist on Spotify. It's mostly no words. It's probably 80-year-old men playing their fiddles, and it's so enjoyable to me. I listen to it pretty much every January through March. Like, I don't know, it feels springy and happy to me.
I love that. Irish pub music.
Yeah.
It's some dudes or some women on their instruments. So. One of my sons, I think because he grew up reading and then watching Lord of the Rings, like he's really big into Irish or Celtic music. Like for him, like that's the songs of his homeland, even though we've never been there, but like it resonates with him deeply.
That's so good.
So I get that. That's so fun. Okay, what about a TV show or movie?
We are a Survivor and Amazing Race family. 2 of my kids still live at home, and they're older men, boys, child. And that's something that we all look forward to watching together. Amazing Race, love it.
I love that. I didn't know it was still on.
It is. They are both still on. What about you guys? Do you have a show? I'm so curious.
Oh, yeah. We have so many shows. My 22-year-old's still at home. So 22 and 20, they're going to college and living at home. We just finished Silo, which was amazing with Rebecca Ferguson on Apple TV.
I'm going to write that down.
If you like futuristic dystopian stuff, which ever since the pandemic I do, because I'm like, I remember in 2020, I'd watch all the end of the world stuff and I'd be like, oh, that's terrible. What we are going through isn't that terrible. So apparently that's my jam. And we just started watching Masters of the Air, about a true story, again, Apple TV, true story of the bomber pilots in World War II. Austin Butler is the lead. And for some reason, even though that man was born in California and he plays as someone from Wisconsin, he still has a Southern accent. I feel like Elvis got in his soul and it just comes out in all the roles. So Silo and Masters of the Air. I think Apple TV is so good because they just have all the money. They're like, yeah, we'll spend $1 gazillion on a TV series.
We'll try that.
I'm here for it.
Okay.
Yeah, take all my money, Apple. Okay, after TV or movies, let's think. Normally I want one. I would like 2 product recommendations from you because you have great taste. I'm putting you on the spot.
One I wrote down was just a makeup product that I tell everyone about, and it's
okay.
You know how you see those Facebook ads and you think that's a lie?
Yeah.
Hey, that is stupid. Well, I saw one and I'm like, that's a lie, and I'm going to buy it. And it was one of those under eye creams because I have like luggage under my eyes. And I'll tell you what sold me was they had a man. He looked like an old sailor. He had like crusty skin and these big bags under his eyes, and he put the cream on. And it,
No.
it's like a fast time, and his eye bags disappeared. And I thought, you know what? I got to see if this works. It works. It's
What's
called
it called?
Westmore. Hold on.
Somebody else just told me
Westmore
about it.
Beauty
Who told me
60-second
about it?
eye effect firming gel. Now, you cannot put it on over lotion or makeup, and you cannot put makeup over. You have to just rely on it. So if you're willing to do that,
Okay.
it makes them disappear. And it does feel a little bit tight, which I like because I feel like it's working.
Do you have it on right now?
I have it on right now.
You look amazing.
You can't see my bags really. I mean, the first time I wore it, I'm like, people at the grocery store are going to stop me and say, "Excuse me, ma'am, you look so young." It didn't happen, but I felt like that. That's all that matters.
They wanted to.
They
just didn't want to disturb you. They wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the second person who's told me about Westmore under eye cream. Okay,
You're
son
gonna
of a
have to
gun.
It's like $35 on Amazon.
I mean, hey, if it takes the bags away, how long does it last?
It lasts all day. Then you wash it off at night.
And does it irritate your skin?
No. Mm-mm.
Huh.
It's worth trying, Allie. I even made my parents, like my mom and my dad, it worked on them. They both put it on one eye, which was very entertaining. Okay, I'm frantically looking around for a second thing, and I noticed right sitting next to me were my 2 glasses. I love all the drinks, and I am a straw girl, and I found years ago these little, see how short they are? They're little copper straws that you can get on Amazon. And they're so fun. Like, I don't want a big, long straw. I want a little, I mean, they are perfect in if you make like an old fashioned or a Moscow Mule in your little copper cup. I think that's what they're designed for. This is not wine. This is my iced coffee. And so I use these little copper. They just make me happy. I love them. They are all tarnished and beautiful patina, but I clearly use them often.
Well, I like it that you're double fisting your beverages for the podcast.
Yes.
I feel like that is great. And the copper just looks so much more stylish than the regular stainless steel. And of course, we don't want plastic. Plastic is garbage.
No. And look at this. My Fresca has like taken, I'm sure I'm drinking whatever. But it teaches you about imperfection and just to appreciate it. They're like a living straw.
I love that. I love that so much. Okay. What about an interesting app that you're enjoying now?
You're not going to, Zillow. I love Zillow. I love the Zillow app.
Of course you love Zillow.
I want to see in every house in the world. Is that too much to ask? I want to see in all my neighbors' houses. I want to see in all the historical homes. I want to see in the new homes. It keeps me in touch too with the people. Like what decorating mistakes are we really making? And plus I'm just nosy. So Zillow is my favorite app.
Okay, do you follow Zillow Gone Wild? I follow it on Twitter and Instagram because I'm obsessed.
I follow on Twitter, which I haven't been on Twitter a while. I'm taking a Twitter break, but it's hysterical.
It is literally the best. For you listening, just Google Zillow Gone Wild. It will make you so happy because the stuff that's going on in people's homes is bananas. You just never know what's inside a house. Like some amazing stuff. I didn't know that you could buy a castle in the middle of Missouri, but apparently you can.
Amazing.
We'll take it. Okay, tell everyone why they want this book and tell everyone where they can find you.
If there's something in your house bothering you and you can't figure out why, or if you feel like you weren't born with what someone called the decorating thumb, which I think is such a good way, House Rules will meet you where you are and encourage you. And it's the kind of book you read for 90 seconds, you slam it down and you go make a change. And oh my gosh, it looks so much better. So super easy read. You can find me at thenester.com, on Instagram, another favorite app, at The Nester. I talk about home all the time. I believe every home has a silver lining. Every home has hope. Every home has some redeeming qualities. And the goal is for you to love your home. And I love mine, and I would love to help encourage you in yours.
Thanks for coming on the show, friend, and I will get that quote.
Thanks for having me.
How great is Myquillyn, right? Even for those of us who we don't wake up in the morning really excited about decorating, it makes it fun, and it makes it easy, and it makes sense. I'm giving away tons of copies of her book, of course. So if you are watching on YouTube, I'm so glad you are, by the way, be sure to like this episode. Be sure to subscribe to this channel and leave a comment. If you are listening, take a screenshot, put it on your Instagram story, tag me, tag Myquillyn, and you will be entered to win a book. Okay, let's talk about the coaching segment. I'm giving you a simple rule of success to live by. Ready? Keep it simple and take action. Seriously. Just like the rule of thumb that small changes lead to big results, it's important to keep in mind that the way to get anything done is to keep it simple and take action. The recipe for failure is to make something very complex and to think about it over and over again and never actually do anything. You know what I mean? Sometimes when we're trying to make progress, we want to make it complex because we confuse complexity with accuracy. Like if we're really going to make progress in something, it needs to be really hard and really complex. There needs to be a lot of steps. It needs to be difficult. And then when we get all overwhelmed, we don't do anything. It has to feel familiar to you when I go over it. It feels familiar to me, and it's something that I've just maybe in the last 5 years finally learned to overcome. I'm speaking from a lot of experience here and from the experience of so many women that I've coached to get them through this pitfall that keeps them from being as successful as they could be. So when you want to do something, get healthy, start a business, start a nonprofit, write a book, launch a Bible study, whatever it is that you want to do, whatever it is that you want to achieve, there will be a tendency to research it forever, to get overwhelmed, to feel imposter syndrome and say, oh, I will deal with that later, and nothing ever happens. But here's the truth. You can steer a ship, but you need to get that ship out of the harbor first. You can't steer that ship in the dock. I want you to get out of the harbor, start taking some action, keep it simple. Once you get going, then you can make adjustments. Then you can figure out all the details, but it's not going to happen if you're still in the dock. Where we go wrong is we wait to figure out the perfect plan and the exact strategy to start making any moves and to take action. That guarantees that nothing is ever going to happen. The best case scenario you have is get some expert advice, get a mentor or a coach or someone with experience who's there to guide you. But even if you don't have that, you can figure out an easy first step to take. Unless all of a sudden you want to start with brain surgery. It's not a big deal if you don't take the right first step. You can figure anything out. Let's just try something small and simple, take action, and keep going. If, for instance, you want to get healthy, start with getting enough sleep, drinking enough water, cutting things out that you're eating every day that makes you feel bad, that sort of thing. You don't need to know the exact molecular composition of vitamins or start running marathons overnight. Easy, small steps that you can take every day will compound and they will get you big results over time. If you read Remaining You While Raising Them, you know all about this. If you haven't read that yet, you need to because it's going to take you through all the details. So your action step this week, whatever it is you want to do, keep it simple and take action. Remember, you can figure anything out. You can always change directions, but you got to get that ship out of the harbor. Get out of the dock, get out in the water, and then you can make adjustments. Okay, next thing, recommendations. I love recommendations. I have found, in my not so humble opinion, the best self-tanner. Now, I am pale. I mean, really pale. I have no melanin in my skin. If I wore shorts in the summertime and the light hit my legs just right, I could cause a car accident because people would have snow blindness and they would just run right off the road. It's very pale. I use self-tanner as a blessing to other people who are going to see my legs. Now, if you have pale legs and you're very proud of them, that is wonderful. No shame here. Rock your pale legs. I need some self-tanner on these babies, again, as a gift to other people. Now, here's my problem. My problem with self-tanners is they're super streaky and they do make us smell like a big hot dog, right? Until now, I've used expensive ones. I've used cheap ones. I've used everything in between. I've done spray tans that I go and get. I've done everything. My favorite self-tanner ever, as of right now, is Jergens Natural Glow Instant Sun Sunless Tanning Mousse. That is a mouthful to say. Jergens Natural Glow Instant Sun Sunless Tanning Mousse. that does not roll off the tongue. We will put it in the show notes, of course. I love it so much. The color is great. It lasts a long time. No hot dog smell. So if you're looking for a little bit of color without that smell, try Jergens. It's affordable, and I really love it. I can't believe how much I love it because I have spent a lot of money on the expensive ones, but now we don't have to. And you know what else I love? I love that you're here. I love that we have this time together every week to invest in ourselves, because an investment in yourself, an investment in your spiritual health and your emotional health and the success of your work is a blessing to everybody in your life. Because I believe in what's inside of you. I believe in your dreams, and I know you're making an impact on this world for good. That's why you're here every week. You're learning something little, something that's going to kind of give you a light bulb moment so you can take those action steps. You can take those first steps. God never tells us all the way where our path is going to go. We don't know 10 years in the future. We don't know a year in the future. We don't know tomorrow. But we take the right little steps, those little baby steps, and we take action, and we know and we can trust Him that it's going to be good. Because God has created you to stand strong and bring something special and unique to this world that only you can bring. So keep stepping up, keep showing up, keep loving well, because you know the truth. You cannot break a woman who gets her strength from God. I love to get to coach you and equip you every week. I'll be back with you next Monday, and I hope you have a great day. I only have a few, blah, 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 blah. I don't even drink caffeine. Can you imagine if I had caffeine?
Okay. Well, here I'm looking at two things that I love.
Okay, wait, don't start yet. This was
Okay.
the editing. I'm drinking tea.
Oh, you're
Hold
editing.
on.
Okay.
I was so pumped up this episode. People are going to wonder why she's so hyped up the whole time. I feel this stuff. I feel this stuff in my bones. I want women to get it. I want them to take action. I want them to get unstuck. I want them to live a good life. It excites me.